We're on. Hello. Hello. Hi, Elude. You're catching the live? Thank you. I have to call you later. So I am waiting for Sarit to come on. Sarit, where are you? So today I have an interesting one. It's kind of like a two-part session. So I am interested in hearing what you guys have, what inputs you guys have on this topic. It's a little bit controversial in the beginning, and then we're going to provide more context and more information. So Saret is on. Oh, she came on by herself. Okay.
Oh,
Can
I
you hear me?
did?
Yeah, you did. You fancy
Okay,
now.
I'm here. Very true. Sorry.
So hello everyone. Hello. So I'm looking for this recording that I took, and I wanted to use that for us to start. I shared it with you earlier, Saret, so I'll play it again for everyone to hear, and then I'll probably play it again towards the middle of the live, just to kind of, remind people the reason why we're doing this. But so let's see, I'll give it a little before we start. You know what? No, I'm not gonna give it a little because we be running over, and I am trying to, stay to my word and not run over too much when we have these lives. And today, apologies, we didn't start at 5. Life was lifing again. I know that's gonna be
It's gonna be
my new model.
your theme.
Yes, it's gonna be my new theme. That life be lifing. But when life lifes, so we keep it moving, and and it happens to the best of us. So let me see if I can play this. That's the first thing. And hold on. The worst parents on the entire planet. That's the first thing. And statistics back that. So over 70% of young men that grow up under a single mother in particular, end up in prison. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 68% of young women that grow up under a single mother in particular end up a single mother herself. But when it comes to a two-parent family and a single father household, a young man has a 90% chance of never going to prison. And that is one of the biggest differences why we men have to go get our children from these freaking women. That is an issue, because the reason why so many of us are messed up is because we were all, or most of us, were raised by women, which are the worst parents on the entire planet, statistical wise. So, if did you hear it? Just in case you guys didn't hear, I'll try to summarize it. So this man, he posted some statistics talking about how single mothers are the worst parent statistically, and he stated that I guess a lot of single moms who raise sons and daughters, the sons go to jail, and then the daughters become single mothers or single parents themselves. So I found that very interesting. And then his solution was for the men to just go and take their kids away from the women. So now, before I go any deeper, I wanted to kind of, if he was available, I would definitely want to kind of pick his brain to kind of understand around what age bracket would he go, or would he recommend for these men to go get their kids from these single moms, so he himself or the men themselves can take care of these kids, because if you're working and you already know how it is when men work and stuff, a lot of them don't like to take time off, or society doesn't I guess put them in a situation or see them as caregivers to the point where it's, you don't see it often for them to take kids, a lot of them to take kids to daycare and, to stay home with the kid when the child is sick and whatnot. So a lot of times you've seen that a lot of women play that role. So it's interesting for me to hear that, because I see and I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, what's the age bracket that he thinks, that he recommends for the men to just go pick up their kids from these women to raise them by themselves, because the women are not doing such a great job? What do you say on that, Saret?
Mm. So he knows this, right? So I think he should be speaking to the fathers, the men, because he has this opinion. What's his solution?
That was his solution.
His solution is to
go take the kids from the moms, because the moms are doing a horrible job, because the sons are getting, thrown in jail, and the daughters are becoming single parents themselves because they were raised by a single mom. So that's the only solution. At least, it was a short, video. So I don't know if he provided any other solutions, but just, him saying that, and not my take from that was, okay, if you know that there's a problem, how about you offer support to the
That's
mom,
what I was
where
going to
the
say.
mom,
That's what I was going to say.
yes,
Yes. So
yes.
what
So
I
go
was going to
ahead.
say is, yes, you got that solution. His solution is to go get the kids, the children, from the mom's home, grab them out displace them out their mom's home, their environment, familiar environment, the mom that's been caring and nurturing them, and just give him a new world that he can do better. What happened from the beginning? What happened to you before this? Like, why weren't you not involved with this single parent to raise your child together? Like, why does there have to be a solution? Why there's a reaction? Why didn't you just do it from the beginning? Why didn't these men do it from the beginning? So let's look at where the problem took place first. How did this issue start from the beginning? Why are you not with the parent, the mother? Why you guys are not together? And even if you guys are not together, relationship wise, romantic wise, you can be there because of that child. You can co-parent. A lot of people do it, and they do it successfully. So your solution, I think you need to rethink your solution, sir. Okay, and look at what the problem is and how did that problem come into play with you not being in the home at all, and now you have to go get your child. No, you should have been involved from the beginning.
Exactly. That
That's what
that
I
was my
think.
take. I'm like, okay, so you knew there was a problem. Statistics. If you're so educated that you're able to get the information, get the information where statistics is saying that, a lot of single parent homes, are in poverty or impoverished, or and the kids, lack a lot of support in the home. So instead of you just coming in and taking the kid away from the mom, and now his solution is just for him, or for men to just raise a child. But it's kind of, contradictory, because okay, let's just say, hypothetically, let's just say that the men just go, okay, all men, go get your kids from the mom and stuff, and you raise the kid on your own. So now let's take into consideration, or let's, state some facts. Men, when they work, now there's a thing with wage gap. So men, they get, if you're thinking about, the whole salary, in general, men will get the whole dollar that they would get paid, as opposed to women getting 80 cents off of that dollar. So instead of them getting the full dollar, they'll get 80 cents. So now there's already a gap, a wage gap
Right.
disparity where
Mhm.
the woman, regardless how much she works, she's still gonna be out 20% of the money that she could have been making. Now, yes, it would probably work a little bit better for the men because they have that extra 20%, which, you know, is not much, but still it's more than, you know, is needed and stuff, or is probably enough to help him raise a child. On the other hand, with the women not getting that full 100% of their salary, you know, their take home pay, that limits their ability, or their, you know, ability to take care of their kids the way they're supposed to take care of the kids. And now when the kids are sick, mothers have to stay home. Now, yes, there are some men who also play that part, but a lot of times the mothers are the ones that are staying home. So if they're staying home, and, you know, if you have a child that's sickly, or you have more than one kid and stuff, more than one children that get sick, now you have to stay home for each of those children. So now I don't know how much time, you know, paid time off or leave that this mother or these parents have, whereas each time you take time off, if you run out of your paid time leave, you start getting, you know, you start taking leave without pay. So now you taking time off and you're not getting paid for that. So your money is being docked. So now the woman is not getting 80%, she's getting 80% and not the whole dollar. Now that money is getting docked because she doesn't have the leave time that she needs for her to get paid while she's home with her child being sick. Another one, when you know, we're giving birth, that's time off from work. So a lot of times, you know, when you're giving birth, because I know for each of my kids, I have 3, and 2, thank God, I was in the military, you know, when I had them. So I was always getting, you know, paid, even if I wasn't at work. When I was taking my maternity leave, I was still getting paid in the military. Now, on the civilian sector, when I was working for the federal government, I was getting paid to a point. Now, that was the time that I had with leave, paid time off. But once I ran out of my paid time off, I had to start now, you know, not get paid, or I had to rush and go right back to work, which didn't give me enough time to heal, didn't give me enough time, you know, for me to get my body together, my mind together, whatever it took, and stuff, for me to be ready to go back to work.
So are
So,
you
you
saying
know,
that women are having to sacrifice a lot more
a lot.
than men
Yes.
are? Mothers are
Yes.
having to sacrifice a lot more, and that is not coming to play into his conversation and
No,
his thought
it's not.
at all.
No,
So you
no,
want to
it's
come
not.
and get these kids? Go ahead and let's see you try, and you will
Mhm.
fail. So the
Yep.
solution is to try to work as
Especially if
a
he doesn't have
team,
support.
right?
And
No one
which
can
is
do
what
it by
I think
themselves.
is the answer.
To support each other.
Yep.
Two
Yep.
parents.
To
Let's
support the
say the other
mom.
parent is
Yes.
not there. God forbid the parent is deceased. You know, it's going to be a lot more. It has to be a village. Maybe the family will be involved. But do not put the whole blame on the mother because she
The
has
whole
this to
burden.
do. Yes, the
Mhm.
blame, the burden, the work, for her failure, for the kids or who are out there, not getting direction. There's so many things that they can do. They have to nurture, they have to feed, they have to shelter, they have to play, they have to give love, they have to make sure that they're healthy, taking them out to the appointments, doctor's appointments, dental appointments. They have to do that all on their own. So now because they fall short in a certain,
Area.
category,
Mhm.
area, you want to say that ah, they're losers, they're failures, they cannot do this on their own, and they cannot keep my child, so let me go ahead and get my child. Interesting.
Instead of providing support. Now, we're not saying you have to stay with the mom if the mom is no good, just like if the dad is no good. You
Mm-hmm.
know, each individual doesn't have to be forced to stay in that partnership while they're raising their kids. In fact, they can, support. Make sure you're taking care of your kid. Make sure when the kid is sick, that you guys are alternating who is taking time off to spend, to stay home, to care for the child. Now, remember, not yesterday, on Friday, when we made the afternoon tea, when we baked the chocolate chip cookies. Now, yes, my husband was already at work, and then I went and brought, my daughter to school. So now, soon as I dropped her off, so imagine if I had to go to work and I dropped her off at daycare, these people called me and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, she gets motion sickness. She has a change of clothes. Can we change the clothes and stuff, and we good. And the nurse was like, no, soon as your child throws up, they have to go home. So it's like, if I was working for someone, if I had a job where I had to go in and clock in, then it would have been like, I would have to call my supervisor, my boss, and let them know that, oh, I can't come in. And then it will be last minute. So now, working in HR, I have to keep my HR hat on. It's like, what happens to that job? So now, yes, the boss may want to be understanding, but at the same time, the boss still has a job to get done. Yes, they don't have to. Yes, they have a job to get done. So if you didn't have time or paid time and your child was sick prior, or you had another child that was sick and you had to take care of this one child, what would you do? Leave the child at the daycare? Or contact the other parent? Yes, if that was the situation, because I've, been blessed where now I am not a single parent and stuff, where now I have, my daughter's, father. I could have called him and been like, hey, I'm going to pick her up from school. What time can you come? Can we swap? Can we work something out? Now, yes, that would have been a great solution because I had the help, because I had the support. But for people who don't have the support and stuff, and they are good mothers, yes, they are awesome mothers doing what they need to do to take care of their kids, telling, the father to just come take the kid away and stuff, to raise them as young men, because that was the last thing that he said, raising them as young men and stuff. But when they were babies, why didn't where was that support? So let's play it one more time, and then I'll see what else you have, and then we'll move on a little bit to kind of jump into what we were supposed to be talking about, which was taking advantage of the pay increase that is being offered for federal employees, which is why I don't know. It's like, yo, the federal government, y'all listening? Because I have y'all on LinkedIn and stuff, these hiring managers that's on LinkedIn, because I have this playing on LinkedIn. You guys, y'all need to hire me on the side and stuff. Let's work something out. Because it's like, yes, because I'm always, recruiting, even though, that's not my job. I'm always, promoting people, promoting the idea of, more people to work for the federal government. And then there are a lot of talent out there. So, and I know, these managers, they need these talents that are available. So hold on, let me play one more time.
One more time. Let's hear the foolishness.
The worst parents on the entire planet. That's the first thing. And statistics back that. So over 70% of young men that grow up under a single mother in particular, end up in prison. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 68% of young women that grow up under a single mother in particular end up a single mother herself. But when it comes to a two-parent family and a single father household, a young man has a 90% chance of never going to prison. And that is one of the biggest differences why we men have to go get our children from these freaking women. That is an issue, because the reason why so many of us are messed up is because we were all, or most of us, were raised by women, which are the worst parents on the entire planet, statistical wise.
Okay.
I need to get some more details about this guy and what he does and how he was
Exactly. No.
raised and where did he get
Yep.
all his information from and what kind of morals that he was taught and who raised him, his mom, his dad, or the trash can. I mean,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I think he's probably speaking from experience. And sometimes, you know how they say hurt people hurt people. So maybe, a woman did him
big
wrong.
joke.
And because she did him wrong and stuff, so now he has that mentality. Yes, he used statistics to back his information and stuff, which, there are statistics out there that
Who
claims,
doesn't?
that single parent homes and stuff are limited in resources and funds and so forth, and a lot of them become impoverished. But at the same time, because this tend to be something that women are, I guess, fall to do, or are usually the one that pick up the slack and stuff, I think that's where it falls on women and stuff, where now, he's making it seem like moms are worse, or the worst thing since sliced bread. But yeah, sorry, you said he was raised by who?
He was either, I want to know who he was raised by. I don't know if it was a dumpster or what, because that's a statement that is, trash. So Naomi says, well, Kai says both parents should come together despite their differences and raise the kid together. Exactly. So if you read those statistics and you see what's going on around you, how about you phrase your opinion a little differently? Well, it is your opinion, so it's your opinion, sir. But your opinion is wrong and it's biased. Naomi says that's a joke. That math does not add up. No, it don't. No, it doesn't.
Yep.
Women are at a disadvantage in this. Oh, that's true. We are, apparently, because the way he's saying it and putting this down, like we cannot raise children. They will end up in jail if we raise them. They will not add up to anything or give anything to this environment or to this life, this society. Eve Zen says so many variables when it comes to using statistics. That is true. He
Yep.
used it as an excuse to bash mothers, which isn't cool. And I agree, sir. I totally agree. Not all statistics are correct, or the way that, he's interpreting them are correct. And he is using whatever he saw, maybe that one page. And who is making this, what you call this, research? Who is doing this? Is it all men? Like, where did they go to get this information from? Like, maybe some of it is, some factual things, but the way he put it together, that's definitely horrible to hear.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. And I did, and because he did some statistics, I went and I did, some research on the statistics that he mentioned. Huh?
I said, yes, thank you.
Yes. And so I did find that, a high percentage of single family homes are predominantly women. However, he didn't really, state a lot of the facts, because of, we automatically assume is because he's talking about Black women and stuff, that he's referring to Black women, which is probably, a touchy subject, because Black women, we've gone through a lot, and, and society, there's some disparity, and, the way things were with, back in the day, stuff like that. So it's like, with him putting out that information and not sharing who are usually which race, who has the highest, poor, or have the highest amount of single family or issues related to that topic and stuff. And I found that it's Native Indians, Native Americans.
Mhm.
That has a lot of that, issue. And then second is Black people. Third is, let me see, I think is white people, no, Hispanic, then white people, and then Asian people. So it's like, yes, he didn't state which race he was talking about, but because he presented the information, it automatically, paints a picture that he's representing or he's talking about Black women. But
And he is
as far
African
as,
American, isn't he?
yeah, well, yeah, he
Yeah,
can only talk about what he knows.
exactly. Which is
Yeah,
nothing,
and
but
and
okay.
yeah, and my issue with what he said was the fact that he didn't state more of the facts as to how these women became single parents and stuff.
Right.
Yes, there's a relationship factor to it, but there's some type of, salary, wage gap, employment type of
Mhm.
situation that affects the numbers of women that becomes single parents and stuff, or
Yeah.
that are forced to be single parents, and then and they lose the opportunity or the resources that they need because they have to deal with those facts.
Yeah, their
So
background, geologically wise, where did their neighborhoods, like, where they were raised, who raised them, income, of course, big, big. So there's a lot of factors to factor in when you can make a statement like that. And when it comes with raising a child, there's a lot of factors that goes into it. So it's
mhm,
really broad.
it
His
is, it is, and I
his
wish
opinion.
he, yeah, I wish he framed his opinion a little bit different, but we can't dwell, on his opinion. So now let's deal with some facts with, some of the wage gaps and stuff, which is again what I mentioned prior to replaying it. Which is why I always try to promote, you know, people to go, or employees or the workforce or job seekers to look for jobs in the federal government, because working for the federal government, that wage gap is a little bit limited, because a lot of the jobs you're not going to get a lot. Now I would say a lot because there may be some bureaucracy and all these things that play a factor in things, but it's a little bit more difficult because a lot of the jobs are based off of your experience, your education, your what what you can do, as opposed to who you are and stuff. So if you're a male or a female, so now when it comes to looking for a job, the job opportunities are open for everyone and stuff. There are quite a few positions in the federal government that has limited criteria, but some of those limited criterias are not gender. It's not a gender factor. It's probably
Mhm.
more of a wage, not a wage, a age factor, a age. And
Mhm.
and of course that's kind of playing it a little bit close to the different what is it, the dang, I can't even think of the word, but the federal factor. By law, you can't discrimination factors. You can't discriminate against people who are older and whatnot. But the age for some of the positions, because if you're going to be a pilot, if you're starting or you're coming into a field as a pilot, or some of these positions, it's either you were already in that position and then you grew up in it, or you have more experience in that position where you became a certain age, as opposed to you starting off at
Mhm.
someone who's 50 years old trying to become a pilot or something like that. So so with the wage information, I think that's a factor with a lot of jobs that are on the civilian sector, not so much jobs in the federal government, which
So
is why,
Naomi
again,
says grades and levels don't discriminate.
yes, exactly, Naomi, exactly. Yes, and a lot of the jobs in the federal government, make it difficult for someone who is biased to try to discriminate against women or, discriminate against Black women and whatnot. But there are some slim, scenarios where that happens. But the majority of the workforce in working for the federal government, that is not really an issue. So let's move on. You had anything else?
No.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess you can check the comments for me as well. Okay.
Yep.
So what I really wanted to do was to talk about, how the food price increase, there's a lot of issues with, being able to purchase food and eat and take care of your family. Oh man, we're moving too fast. So I thought about, again, with our afternoon tea, where I purchased my ingredients for baking the chocolate chip cookies and stuff. And I was like, dang, why did I spend close to $200 just for these ingredients, just for me to bake cookies? And then I'm like, so
really?
I spent about
to
that
bake
much.
chocolate chip cookies?
Yes. And I'm like, okay,
Wow.
I know I was joking, on our afternoon tea, where I said I got the premium this, premium that, premium this. But at the same time,
you got the premium. You got the premium $200 worth of 1 dozen chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
They were
So
good.
yes, no, they definitely were good. So now I was thinking, if I spent that much money and I just purchased, ingredients for chocolate chip cookies. Now my husband, thank God for him and stuff, he does the grocery shopping. So a lot of times, I'm kind of blinded to being able to see how much things cost. So how much did you spend on, your, what is it, Korean shopping or Korean haul, grocery haul that you did?
Maybe $80. Because when we go to a store, I mean, we see everything. And I'm seeing this, oh, I want this, or I want that. Like, something about me, I do not hold back when it comes to shopping for what I want, when it comes to the grocery store. So that's something that I may need to work on, because of the prices of food increasing so much that I have to be a little less bougie when it comes to my supermarket shopping. But yes, it's a lot of money.
Yes, but then another thing with you, when you go to the register, like, you'll have these grand ideas on things that you want to make or things that you want to buy, but soon as you get to that counter, sir, I'd be like,
no,
how much is it? I'm gonna leave this, I'm gonna leave that, I'm gonna leave this, and I'd be like, dang, Sarat, you're already there.
I definitely do that sometimes, and I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of doing it, because guess what? The person that's checking me out, that's not the person that's going to be paying for this. It's coming out of my pockets. So if my pocket said hits me on the shoulder, like nudges me, ma'am, I will not be needing this anymore. You want me to take it back, or you want to bring it back?
Okay. And I'd be like, so Sarat, each time you pick up something, aren't you looking at the prices? And if you're looking at the prices, why are you getting a sticker shock when you get to the register?
I do, but I might still want it until I see what the total comes up to.
But yes, so because of the food prices and how taken aback I was.
No, I was saying hey to the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so how much I was taken aback by food prices and stuff. And I'm like, so people who are not working for the federal government, or people who are, not getting the salary that they are hoping to get after they work 40, 50 hours a week and stuff, and still still falling short. Like, how are these people dealing with this situation? And a lot of times, I've been out of, the civilian workforce in like forever. So I can't really remember I think my last job, I worked at Staples right before I joined the military. And I think I don't think I worked there for more than 6 months. And so, I didn't give it enough time for me to see if at the end of the year, if I was going to get a pay increase. So now, since you have worked more in the civilian side and stuff, so do you guys get a pay increase every year?
We do. We get performance evaluations where you can get a
Uh-huh.
pay increase, and it was 2%.
Okay, so the beauty of working for the federal government, you do get a performance evaluation and you do get a little bonus at the end of the year. Now, depending on the job that you do and how big the budget is or what they have left over and stuff, and they didn't give directors and whatnot, the big rigs and stuff, more of the money, but you did get at least $1,000 for your bonus at the end of the year. But now I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about annually. Was there a pay increase?
Yeah, that's what I meant. 2% increase. And that was the cap. 2% was the highest if you met, if you worked above their standards and you achieved everything.
Okay,
and that was more than one position that I've been at, different companies. The cap was 2% increase. And that's ridiculous.
So you'll get your bonus plus you'll get an annual pay increase.
Well, it's not guaranteed that you're getting bonus at the end of the year for, people who work. It all depends on your position. So my position, I did get bonuses, but that was like monthly bonuses because I'm in sales and marketing. But for the year, it's up to the company if they feel like giving you a $25 gift card where they would actually put it on your taxes so they can, put it on so they can tax. But then when you do your evaluation every anniversary, the cap is 2%. And the first time that I heard that, I was like, 2%? What? Can you? And then they had to actually request something from corporate higher up to go over 2%, maybe like 2.5. But the norm for everyone that exceeds their, evaluation, their performance, it's 2% tops.
Oh, okay. So now let's put a question. Let's put a question for the people in the audience and stuff who are not federal employees. What were they salary increase every year? Because I am loving, the federal government because, like every year it's not necessarily, you know what? I can say so far it's kind of been a guarantee that you'll get a salary increase for the year. And now the number, it varies on how much the increase is. But for the most part, it's not just that bonus that you get. Every year, federally, they create a new budget and stuff. So they just signed the new fiscal year, the budget for the new fiscal year and stuff. So a lot of hiring are taking place. So if you guys are looking for the best time to get a job for the federal government, the time is now. They got new money.
The time is now, but you put me on the back burner.
Yes, I put you on the back burner because I got a lot of work that I was working on. So you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait.
She does not want me to get into the federal government like everybody else, guys. She want me to say it.
So do you really want me to tell? You really want me to say it?
What?
Okay, we'll move on. So the people that got their work done already, their resumes provided to them and whatnot, they paid for their service. And so if you pay for your service, you understand that there's a time limit. So 5 to 6 days, I'll get you your work back. So if you didn't pay yet, you're going to have to be patient with me, just like I'm being patient with you. So now let's move on.
Yes, let's move on because nobody sent me an invoice. Okay.
Well, you didn't say nothing about no invoice. So you got to tell me if you're serious because I'm not going to be chasing you. I have people that I'm working with, so I can't chase people. So
I want to
for
be
20,
what you call them, a client?
you see
What
my
do you call your
services,
people?
you know what I offer. So if you need my assistance, then
Oh my
you
God.
ask me, okay. Or you can even tell me, okay, what packages do you have available? What packages do you
Yes,
recommend?
please share. Do share so I
Who,
can be
who you
important
want to
like
share, me
everybody
or
else. Huh?
is somebody talking in the comments? Oh, so
No,
she talking to me. Okay, so yeah, let's work
I'm
your
talking.
little thing. I'll you know what? You want to play your stuff? I'm gonna send you an invoice, and then we'll discuss
Don't play
which
with me.
package, which package you need. And since I know you're gonna be a problem, I'm gonna have to charge you extra. Okay, so
Whatever.
for 2024, the
Mhm.
the salary increase, there's a 5.2% pay raise.
Wow.
Yes, for people who work for federal employees. Now, I think the last year it was about 4.6, 4.6, 4.7 and stuff. So 2024 is going to be 5.2%. So now, if you're making, let me see, is that the next slide? Okay, so yes, so I put up the GS pay scale. So I don't know how big this is, if you can see it. So I
That's
might
really
have to.
small. It's really tiny.
Okay, let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, so let's zoom in and then I'll move the slider. Okay, so this is the general pay schedule. So this
Okay.
is what we usually go off of for most federal positions, but then they have different pay plans where the pay schedule is not GS, it's NH, whatever, depending on the agency. Each agency usually uses different pay plan, but the one that we usually fall back on to see what's the equivalent and stuff is a GS pay scale. So now if anyone is making about, let's say, 49,000 a year, so for the GS pay scale, that's equivalent to a GS 9 pay, well, step 1, GS 9 step 1. So if you're making about 49,000, and $28 and stuff, so next year, that's the general pay scale, and this one is not with locality. That's another beauty of it. That's without locality.
Well, what does that
So this
mean?
is that's for general across the board. But if you
Okay.
live in a locality or in a state or in a location, the cost of living is higher, you get locality increase. And so the locality adds a little bit extra to your pay. So I have two other pay scales that I put on there to kind of give a little bit more context. So for me, when I stopped working for the federal government, I was a GS 12, and that was in 2020. So I was making it was a GS 12. So this one is that's a general pay scale. And each year there's a new pay scale that's out there because it does the math and stuff with the locality pay and the salary increase. So if I was a GS 12, just the general schedule without being in DC, working in DC or working in New York, this is what I would be getting. So there are some states that get about that low, but then there are states again who gets about 80 something K as a GS 12, which is why I love the federal government. So now let's move to a different salary table. So this one is with locality, and this one is for New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania. So a GS 12. So when I left, I was making about, I think, 80 something, 82, 83,000 a year. So now for this one, for 2023, this is how much a GS 12 is making. 96,000. Who works, their locality is in New York, who works out of New York, is about
Wow.
96,000.
I
So now
wanted
you saw the
GS 12 and up.
So you saw the previous one was about 70,000, 71,000. That's the average. But when you add the locality, makes it look even better. So now that's for New York. The locality for New York, 96,000. And for DC is a little bit higher. Now, I also pulled up Virginia, since you're in Virginia.
Mhm.
And for Virginia, because it's not, near DC, for a GS12 this year, 2023,
It is
you're
near
making
DC.
about, huh?
You said because it's not near DC?
Because this one is for Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Virginia, and North Carolina. It's closer to the
Okay.
southern part.
Yeah.
The
I
southern
wanna
part
see.
of
So
Virginia.
closer to DC would be the 90 something, right?
It'll probably be a little bit higher.
Okay, good.
Yeah, for closer to DC. So in Virginia, so if you were to get a GS12 position, you'll be making about $83,000 this year. So now next year, add 5%, to that. That's lovely. So now comparing this to what, people who don't work for the federal government are getting, I mean, Joe, it's ridiculous, the amount of money and opportunities that are available out there for people to work for the federal government and to see the benefits of working for the federal government. Now, last time we mentioned, other than the salary, there are so much more. It's difficult for you to get fired once you go through your probationary period. When working for the federal government, for you to get fired, it's probably going to take an act of Congress, like I mentioned last time, or you would have to do something terribly stupid for you to get fired. And prior to you getting fired, depending on, what you've done, then, you'll get opportunities for you to improve, if it's work performance and whatnot. But if you're a hard worker or someone who, goes to work and, to work and make your money, this shouldn't be an issue and stuff where you're getting fired for no reason. So now I pulled up some vacancies, positions that are available right now, admin positions, and also security positions. So there's several positions in whatever field you're in the federal government. So now admin, administrative support assistant. So at a GS7, this is what these individuals are making, about 40,000. Now this one is not to exceed 4 years, so I don't usually recommend for people to, try to get a job that is not permanent. But if it's intermittent and stuff like that, you have to worry about applying again or having to compete again. Where, once that 4 year, it's like a contract. Once that term is done, you would have to start over. And if they have funding again, then, you would have to compete again to be able to get another job. So, and now look, so an administrative support assistant, they're making about $40,000. And administrative support specialists, they're making from GS9 to 11. So now, and that's about $49,000. So for a GS9, let's go back to the pay scale. Let's say in New York, if this individual was in New York, working in New York, they'll be making about $66,000. That's the starting salary. GS9 step 1 is about $66,000. So now going all the way to step 10. So the steps go from 1 to 10. So all the way to step 10, they'll be making about $86,000, which is close to what a GS11 would be making. But that GS11, their steps would be about, let's say, about step 6 to step 7. So wait, no, yes, I think, yeah, 11. No, a 10. Shoot. No, a 10. 11 is about step 3. 11 is about step 3. So a GS10, step 6 or step 7 would be making about $88,000 if they work in New York. And that's just an admin support specialist. And sometimes these people, they're not really doing anything. They're just,
Right.
yeah, supporting the work function. Sometimes, depending on the agency, they're, making calls, they're filing paperwork, they're, maybe typing emails and, filing. They're really not doing anything, depending on the agency, and they're making that much. And if it's in New York, you saw how much they would be making. Medical admin assistant, because we know a lot of people who work in the medical field and stuff who are CNAs and whatnot. So I thought this one was interesting. Now, these individuals at a GS7, they'll be making about $47,000. If they were working out of New York, they'll be making, I think a GS7, it was about $54,000. So now they can go all the way up to, I think that position was 7-9, but for the GS7 step 1 is 54,000 all the way to, it's like usually when we look at that, we have a little piece of paper underneath to go across. So you'll get the correct number. Okay, GS7. I think that's about $70,000. No. Yeah. 63, 70. I can't see. I need my paper to help me, target the numbers. And also for security positions, security specialists, GS9, about $64,000, and that's in Quantico, Virginia. Oh, let's go back to this one. This one for the admin support specialist. So they start off at a GS9 all the way to a GS11. So let's say for New York. No, this is Virginia. Let's do Virginia. We've been doing New York. So in Virginia, they'll be getting paid about GS9 step 1, which is about $57,000, all the way to the pay scale in for the steps in the GS11. They'll start off at the 69 all the way to, if you can see the numbers and stuff. Was it 9? No, 11. Oh my goodness. It's about
a 9.
About 82,000. I think it's about 82. No, 90.
70.
82. Yeah, 90. Is it 82? No, it's 90. For the GS11.
GS9? Oh, GS11?
No, GS11. GS11 step 10.
Okay.
Yeah, so all the way to $90,000, and that's just an admin support specialist. Like, are you kidding me? Now, people are out here struggling, being able to take care of their family, being able to feed their family, and having, this crazy dude talking about, single moms, their kids are ending up in jail, or, their kids are becoming single parents and stuff. If you're making, this type of money and you know how to manage, budget yourself, and not living paycheck to paycheck, I think it'll be kind of difficult for you to, not be able to take care of your kids, where your kids are ending up, doing things in the street. And sometimes even if you're raising your kid to, in a strict family, or making sure that they're good, providing them everything that they need, it doesn't say, or it doesn't mean that they're not going to find themselves in trouble. So, again, that man, he kind of cuckoo and stuff in his opinion, or him backing up the statistics and not really finding out the real information, that is needed. So again, look, all these different vacancies that are in the federal government, and people out here in the civilian sector struggling, trying to make a living. Now, I know a lot of people.
Well, they need help. They need help to get in, because it can be intimidating. They can see it as a far-fetched, goal to try to go into working into the federal government. There's a lot of ask. Like, there is a lot of things that they need. The wording, can be scary and can be foreign. So they need someone to walk them through, like you, someone who is an expert and who knows the ins and outs. So this is where you would come into play. So we need help.
Yes, yes. No, I completely agree and understand with, you know, your statement, because you are right. There are a lot of people out there who are intimidated, who feel like the federal, you know, sector is intimidating because they're thinking they don't want to be in politics. We don't care about politics and stuff when working for the federal government. A lot of us, shoot, we just go to work and stuff, do what we got to do, get paid, enjoy our, you know, benefits, our you know, our, what is it, all the different benefits, all the different leaves, the federal holiday. Tomorrow is Monday. It's
Yes.
what is it,
And you
Columbus
guys
Day.
have Columbus.
Yes, yeah, ain't nobody going to work in the federal government, and if they do go to work, best believe they're going to be getting holiday pay on top
Yeah.
of, you know, yes, the pay that they're getting. So yes, it may be intimidating. Yes, it, you know, and I guess looking at it, it's appealing. But if you don't know what you're doing, yes, I can understand why, you know, it's scary. Which is why, you know, even though this topic may not be fun, or people, you know, probably like the interesting aspect of, you know, social media and, you
Drama.
know, yeah, the drama of it all. Yes, I mean, you know, if you're bored, yes, you want to be entertained by drama, but at the same time, if you hungry,
Right.
you ain't got time for the drama. You ain't got time to be playing games, to be seeing people acting stupid. And then a lot of times, you know, a lot of people will see you and stuff, you know, living your best life if you're not pretending, because there's a lot of people that pretend on social
There's a lot of
media, and
pretending.
then other people, yes, and other people are looking at them and thinking, dang, I want that lifestyle. I want this, I want that. But in fact, not
Right.
knowing the real, you know, the real deets behind how they were able to get that lifestyle, or
They
what
work
they need,
hard.
what they had to do.
Mhm.
Exactly. And stuff, or who they're depending on and stuff, if they're not taking care of their own business and stuff, who they're depending on to, you know, help them live that type of lifestyle. So, you know, which is why, you know, yes, the entertaining aspect of it, you know, the drama, all these things are fun, but at the same time, I'm gonna need to take care of my home. And so I'm gonna need to make sure that, you know, the next time you're taking a vacation, that I'm like, damn, you know, I can't even take a vacation and stuff because I ain't got no money, or I don't have the resources, I don't have the funds and stuff, which is why, if, you know, a lot of people took the chance and, you know, and start searching for jobs on USA Jobs and even some of the other federal websites, federal agencies and stuff, look at their, you know, their career section and stuff. Most of them, you know, most of the jobs will probably be advertised on USA Jobs. If they start looking at these jobs and then, you know, trying to apply to these jobs, and prior to applying to these jobs, making sure that their resume speaks for itself, that their resume speaks light to the position that they're applying to, because you can't just, you know, apply to a position and then, you know, and your resume looks like chicken scratch and stuff, even if it's
Yeah.
typed. Yeah, even if
So
it's typed.
I learned that you have to have not one resume, but you have to have a lot of different resumes
Yep.
tailored to what you're going after. So that's the
Yep.
interesting part. It's not fun writing resumes in the beginning.
No.
At first, it's not fun at
No.
all. But then now you
No.
need more than one. You need to put more
Yes.
than one type of job skills that you have for what you're
Mhm.
targeting. And that's where, you know, can be a little discouraging, but, you know, Genevieve's here to
I mean, yeah,
help.
I can understand why it can be discouraging, but at the same time, making money like this, wouldn't you force yourself to put in that extra little work and stuff? And
Yeah.
if you can't, because sometimes some people can't, or, you know, and because they don't know and stuff, or, you know, they're not confident in their abilities to, I guess, put into paper their skills, their experiences as it relates to the job, that, you know, that they'll take a chance with, hiring someone who's reputable, someone who's done it before, someone who's reviewed applications, who's announced vacancies and stuff on USA Jobs, who sat on interviews, someone who has communicated with these hiring managers and know what they're looking for, know what the job is and stuff. So, you would definitely have to take a chance in hiring someone to help you put the information, align the information with what you're looking for. Yes, you have to have several resumes and stuff for each position, but once you have a formatted resume that is for the federal government, that speaks to most of your experience, your background. Now, when you're applying to a new vacancy, all you would have to do now is make sure that the information that you had already, it speaks to that new position, that new vacancy. And if it doesn't speak to that new vacancy, now that's where you add information that relates to that job. But before I jump on that, because I think I have that on there. I have a little story. So now there are jobs on USA Jobs and also the different agencies, their websites on the different agencies. So go directly to them to apply. And if you're a veteran, a veteran with disabilities, you can walk up to the HR office and stuff, because you know that there's a vacancy, you know that there's a position available. And sometimes even if you don't know that there's a position available, you can drop off your resume. And you drop off your resume to them, and once a vacancy comes up, and if your resume speaks closer to what they're looking for, then they may consider you. And now if it doesn't come closer, because you've had that one-on-one or face-to-face interaction with them, they can possibly call you and be like, okay, I have this position that's available, but I was reviewing your resume and stuff, but there's some things that I don't know if you want to update, because this position requires you to have this and that and this and that, and you have to do this and that and this and that. So do you want to update it, or do you want me to consider this resume that you have? Now, if anybody contacts you and asks you any questions like that, just know you need to update your resume, because it's kind of like they're trying to hook you up and stuff,
They're
and they
giving you
can't
a
really
hint.
tell you.
They're giving you a little hint.
Yes, they're giving you a hint. They're trying to hook you up, letting you know, hey, I reviewed this already, and I'm still calling you. So that means you're lacking something. So if they're telling you that, then best answer for you to say, oh, you know what? Wait a minute. Let me, let me review my resume and stuff, and let me see if I can update it based on the information that you shared with me. And I'm going to do more research on the position and whatnot. Do what you got to do, say what you got to say and stuff. And then I'll, submit my resume to you for you to consider me for that position. There you in. You in that position and stuff, and you didn't even have to apply on USA Jobs and wait 5,000 years for HR to review your resume, for HR to review your resume, your application, along with 5,000 other people whose resumes are looking like, and then the information that they're putting on there, and a lot of you, because there's no page count on federal resumes, it's like your resume can be, up to 20 pages. So imagine an HR specialist reviewing up to 20 pages of nothing. And, and I say nothing because the information that's on there doesn't relate to the position that they're applying for. So now that's right. The HR specialist wasting time reviewing resumes that are not even qualified, where if you made that, or you took that extra step to make sure that your resume speaks to that vacancy and stuff, it'll be much easier for them to eliminate everyone else, because, after reviewing it, they see that they're not come close, that they don't even come close, and then push you forward to the hiring manager. So now if they push you forward to the hiring manager, there's a higher chance that the hiring manager will consider you or call you up for an interview. And then that's where you do your magic, you shine. But again, there's sometimes a lot of people who have difficulties on interviews, don't know how to interview because, you know, they're afraid or, you know, they're not comfortable or whatever the case may be. I offer that services as well. There's other people that offer that services, but because I'm talking about me, so, you know, I offer that services as well. Okay, so let's see. And then this last one, I can't even get to it. Let's hide this. Okay. And now I have a tip of the day. Oh, it's 105. Okay, we're moving. We're moving.
You almost
so my
there.
tip
You
of the
almost
day.
got it.
Exactly. My tip of the day, write straight facts on your resume. Now, I'm using that word because my son helped me with that word because I was working on someone's resume. And now this individual was, I think she was a GS-14. But the way she wrote her resume, I'm looking at it with my HR eyes, and I'm like, lady, are you serious? This is what you want HR to read on and read on about. So she was talking about, what did she put on her resume? She had different situations that she was dealing with at work and stuff. And then she was saying, okay, she had to do some recruitment, you know, hiring. And there was a lot of people that applied to the positions. Even though it was hard, she was able to go in and get it done. And when she was doing it, you know, a lot of people gave her a lot of slacks and this and that. And I'm like, lady, nobody want to hear all that. They want to hear what you did for the recruiting event. What did you do? You know, what did you do? Did you announce the vacancy? Did you, if it was a recruiting event where you had to do, you know, those hiring events that they go to different locations and stuff, did you look, you know, take up people's applications and their resumes and you reviewed it and you determined that they qualified and, you know, stuff like that. Nobody want to know all this little extra stuff that you putting in there because we don't have time. So her resume was full of that. And so she hired me for me to help her. And she said, I want to get in. I want to get in. Do what you got to do to make me get in. So now I write this lady's resume, remove all the garbage fluff on there. And so I don't know if she felt offended. So she came back and said, what is this? I said, ma'am, I wrote your resume and I listed and then, you know, and then I provided information that was relevant to the job. As far as, you know, how you felt when you was doing the job, we don't really care about that. So if HR doesn't care about that, exactly, the hiring manager doesn't care about that. If you had a headache when you were doing that job and stuff, and because there was a lot of people, you had a headache and you had to take an Advil and you took a day off, we don't care about that. We want you to list what you did in the job. And so I guess because of, you know, the type of person she is, and she said, she even told me, she disclosed to me that it's been a while since she applied to a vacancy. So she doesn't really know what HR is looking for. So now if I'm telling you that you need to list straight facts, exactly, she gonna get mad at me because I removed all the nonsense that she was saying. And so, you know, and she didn't even give me the opportunity for me to, you know, put it in a eloquent way to let her know, you know, she was just like, what is this? I was like, this is your resume. Your resume. I'm writing the facts of what you've done. And anything else that is not factual, if it's feelings based, if it's personal, you know, whatever narrative, we don't really want to hear it. Now, there is a section that you can put that information, and that's on the accomplishment section, where when you know, when you recruited 5,000 people in a matter of, you know, 3 months, and you change the trajectory of, you know, the hiring practice of the agency, and you changed it, and now you got an award and you were recommended for this, you were recommended. Now that's where you list that. But all in your resume, we don't want to hear you had a headache. We don't want to hear, you know, it was difficult, that you had to deal with difficult people, that you had to, no. Because that in itself is going to turn off any hiring manager. And so I was like, you know what, man? No problem.
You got a couple comments.
Oh, okay. Go. Okay. Can you read the comments?
Yeah, so Bobby Ray says being comfortable during interviews are important. They are very important. Um Kai Kai says resume should be straight factual, no fabrication or sob stories. And that sounds like what
Yeah.
she had all up in there. And she was
Yes.
mad that you removed them.
Yes, she was. Oh my goodness, she was pissed off. And I shared it. I shared it with my son and my husband. He was like, what is wrong with these people? Like, who cares about these things?
You could
So
have
yeah,
charged
go
her
ahead, read
more.
the rest of the comments.
You should have charged her more. Sharita says, who put all that stuff on their resume?
She did. She did. And I'm looking at it like, lady, are you serious? Like, you trying to get a job, or you trying to get these people to be like, yo, we don't want you anywhere near our agency because we can see
Exactly.
that you're going
That's
to be
too
a problem.
much. That's too much.
Yes. Yes, Medea. That's too
She's
much.
gonna be, yeah. They can tell like your personality. They can tell, who
Yes.
they're gonna be dealing with, and you don't
Yes.
want them to have that negative,
No.
notation of who you are. That
Yes.
negative background. Like they already can see that. They want to see all great positive things when they're getting a new
Yes.
employee that they have to deal with for the rest of the term. They don't want to be like, oh no, this is gonna be a crazy lady.
Yes.
You
Yes.
want to be put
Even
out
if it
straight.
was difficult for you, even if you had issues on the job, even if you had this, you never, ever, 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 ever give HR or the hiring manager any indication that you're a problem. Because
Right.
if you were a problem at the agency that you were, you think they
Before,
want to bring this problem? They don't
no.
want this problem. They don't want this problem over, by them. And so I was like, okay, ma'am, no problem, and she didn't do it through my website and stuff. So she complained. And I was like, well, you're gonna have to go through the platform if you want your refund. But and the thing with me,
Did she
I
ask for a
always try
refund?
to, huh?
Did she ask for a refund?
Yes, she asked for a refund. Yeah, she asked for a refund through the platform. And I was like, well, ma'am, and that was my hardest resume that I wrote, because I had to first read through all the stuff that she wrote and then to try to find the information on how it related to the job. That was my worst one ever. And I'm like, and this lady gonna ask for a refund. Now, if she was smart, if you pay somebody for a service and now this person wasn't HR, and then I, even on the platform I provided where, I had my SF50 where I was an HR specialist and stuff, GS12, HR officer I put on there and stuff. So if you see that I worked in HR and then you pay for a service, take a chance and
Right.
use that resume and stuff, because obviously I know the game, instead of you trying to put the crazy information that you wanted on there. So
And
it is
obviously
what it is.
hers didn't work. Her version of the resume did not work.
Obviously, yes, which is why she came and asked me, to help her. But but it was funny. It was definitely funny. So what was it?
Like I said, brainless activity, definitely.
Yes, it was. It definitely was. So now,
So maybe you may need to switch things up a little bit when you doing do you do like sessions with them before you take them in as a customer or a client?
I did. And I don't usually do that, because I usually tell people, you see the services that I offer. Yes, I know you may have more questions and stuff. So, I usually reach out to them and stuff. So if depending on, if they want it, I'll talk back and forth with them via text or email and stuff. But she wanted to physically speak to me. So now we spoke and she told me it's been a while since she applied. She hasn't been in the game for a while, although she's a federal, a federal employee and stuff. She doesn't know what HR is looking for. She doesn't know this. She doesn't know that. And so I mentioned to her, I said, I can understand that, But when you've reviewed resumes and stuff, because you're a GS-14, so that means at one time you were probably in a leadership position. So once you reviewed resumes, what did those resumes look like?
What she
What
had,
kind
I
of
guess.
information? Huh?
What she had the first time, I guess that's probably what she read. But that was a long
Exactly.
time
But
ago.
a lot of people, you know, a lot of that, if you look at any federal, as long as I've been doing this job, even when I was working for the federal government and I was reviewing people's resumes, I have never come across somebody's resume like that. So now working and trying to help somebody write their resume. Now for her, to the way she wrote it and stuff, it's like, okay, like, are you not looking at the, you know, like past activities, you know, what other people have done and stuff? Because sometimes if you don't know, you try to look at, you know, how many people are doing it the same way for you to kind of get an idea. Okay, you know what? That might be a way that I need to kind of, you know, practice doing mine, as opposed to sticking to what I know and then not even being able to move forward to the high manager. Because the point is, if you're applying for a job, it's for you to actually get the job, not for people to start questioning what type of person you are, if you're, you know, if you're worth it, and not other, you know, other than being qualified, because it'll take you forever to try to see where she was qualified for that job. So I was like, wow, oh my goodness. So I definitely, you know, have to share that. The tip of the day: write straight facts on your resume. Please do not, you know, add no fluff. Yes, add no fluff, no negative fluff, anything that's going to bring negative or make it seem like you're a problem to the next employer, leave it out. If that's how you do on your day-to-day, you know, at work, and you want to be controlling in other areas of your life and stuff, but when it comes to, you know, working with someone else, you definitely have to consider that, what that would represent when somebody else is looking at it. So yeah, I'm gonna land that plane right there. So to reiterate to everyone and stuff, did anyone answer the question as far as, you know, how often they get a salary increase in their prospective employment on the civilian sector?
No, I don't see any answers with that.
Okay. So initially we spoke about, you know, this guy that had, you know what, let's play it one more time. Let's give him his few seconds of fame. Yes, let's give him his few seconds of fame and hear his input, and then, you know, and then understand that we add that there's a wage gap situation, that there are other factors and criterias that he should have considered, instead of him, you know, trying to state statistics without more information.
Yes, listen to this guy, guys. Put your comments.
The worst parents on the entire planet. That's the first thing. And statistics back that. So over 70% of young men that grow up under a single mother in particular, end up in prison. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 68% of young women that grow up under a single mother in particular end up a single mother herself. But when it comes to a two-parent family and a single father household, a young man has a 90% chance of never going to prison. And that is one of the biggest differences why we men have to go get our children from these freaking women.
Freaking women. He mad.
Because the reason why so many of us are messed up is because we were all, or most of us, were raised by women, which are the worst parents on the entire planet, statistical wise.
He big man.
So he had to put that last piece, statistical wise. No, because that's your opinion, that single women are the worst parents. Is that what he said?
Yes. And the solution that he provided was for the men to go get their kids from the moms and not offer support to the mothers of those kids, but instead take those kids away. But he is recommending that they take away those kids when they are young men, to grow them up to be men and not
Like
any
him.
earlier, because he knows he can't handle, raising younger kids who have a lot of needs, a lot of medical complications, who get sick, who gets this, who gets that, and and are influenced by peer pressures and whatnot. So yes, he wants, for the dads to go pick up the kids and stuff when they're young men, and not any sooner, because he can only handle them when they're young men, when they're of age as a young man.
And the single
So
moms cannot raise children.
yes, by
Okay.
themselves, instead of
They have
offering
done
support.
horrible jobs.
Yes, instead of offering support to the child's mother, helping the child mother if the child is sick, for him to watch the child so the mom can go to work and not take off from the job that she's only getting 80% of the pay because there's a wage gap on the civilian sector. He wants the solution to be to get the kids from the freaking mom, or the freaking women, or however he placed,
That's
he
what he
stated.
said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's the
he
term
stated
he
his
used.
opinion. Yes. So, to not go any further, did anybody else say anything?
So if you guys did not catch the recording of this young man about, his opinion on single parents, well, not single parents, but single mothers, right?
Because single
Raising
fathers
young
are better.
men, they go to jail. They don't succeed. They fail in life because they're a single mom, and the single moms do not know how to raise the children. And this is from his statistics that he researched. So guys, please go back to the video in the beginning and watch and give us your opinion. Please put it in the comment. Yes, Deborah Lee, Auntie Deborah Lee, you did hear that. He said that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did say that, and I must, add that some of the statistics that he read, there are some truth to some of those statistics. However, the solution and, that men, or his indication or connotation that men are better single parent than a woman would be, that to me is kind of wild, because he's not taking into consideration several other factors, which was the wage gap that we mentioned, the fact that women only get 80% pay when it compares to men, that women, and that women have to, be caregivers, pick up their kids from daycare. If the child is sick, nurture their kid. If their child is sick, they have to stay home with them. When the women are, maternity, when they are giving birth and stuff, he wants y'all to hurry up and go back to work.
With the possibility of postpartum depression, all of those things that takes effect after you've given birth, mentally, psychologically, everything, physically, he's like, single women are the worst mothers on earth, and the men should go back and get their children. So where were you from the beginning? Why do you have to go back and get your child? Why weren't you in this child's life from the beginning, where they didn't have to raise up in the neighborhoods where they saw guns and violence and all of that, while this mom was at work trying to feed them? Where were you? You were missing, you were gone. But now you want to be the hero after all is said and done and go get your child.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep. So now, I'm gonna end. I'm not gonna drag this too long. You know what? That made me just realize the movie Nowhere, where that lady.
Oh, did you watch it?
Yes, I watched it. Okay. Spoiler alert. She ended up being a single mom.
You cannot spoil it. We have to watch it, guys. Guys, really?
And it was wild to me, because it was no fault of her own why she became a single mom, because, and in saying that, there are a lot of situations where it's no fault of the woman as to why they
Yes.
became a single mom. Nowhere.
The
The movie is
called
nowhere.
Nowhere, right? It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's it's in Spanish, right? But there's subtitles and you can change it to English. And it's a
Yeah.
good movie and it makes
Very
you
good
think.
movie.
And it
Very good
really makes you
movie.
think of what would you do in that situation? Would you have thought of those things that she thought of? You know, how would your, you know, life end? Like how would it take a turn? Like
Mhm.
that's crazy. So watch it, guys, because we're gonna talk about it
On
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
So it's on Netflix. It's very interesting. Look at it. I may have to go watch it again. My husband was kind of mad because I didn't wait for him, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta watch this." I usually like to watch movies like this on my own, and then I'll go back and I'll watch it with you. But he wasn't happy that I watched it without him, and I couldn't
Yes.
lie and say
Yes.
no, I didn't watch it because I feel weird watching it again and not saying something. But
Yes, yes. So, no fault of her own. And that might be a lot of people's situation where they're dealing with stuff like that. And I don't know if that's all I'm gonna say about that movie. I don't know if my mind would have went to all of that and stuff. So definitely watch the movie and check the his comment or his statement or whatever he said about women not being good single women not being good parent, that men are better parents. A single man is a better parent than a single woman is, and the solution is for the dads to go and take the kid away and not offer
rip them out
support
the
to the
home.
mom. Yes, take them out the home and not offer support. Okay, so it was fun, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you guys found useful the information that I shared about the salary increases that the federal government is giving out. They're giving out this money like hotcakes. So if you're struggling, to purchase food, to feed your family, to take care of your family and stuff, and and you're not making enough, you're making 80% as opposed to $1 in the federal government, that wage gap is lessened because employees in the federal government, it's more so about your qualifications and your experience, not your gender or your sex, your gender, and or your race.
Your age. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you
So
said age too,
I'll
right?
talk to you. Huh?
And you said age too, right?
Yes. Age, gender. Yeah. Age, gender, or sex. Yes. So definitely consider applying or checking out jobs in the federal government. If you feel intimidated about the process, you don't know how to start, where to start, if you can start, if you're qualified, reach out. And the tip of the day that I provided, write straight facts on your resume. Nobody wants to hear your sob stories on your resume. If you have an accomplishment that you want to state your accomplishment in a accomplishment section, create a different section, and then you write that in there. But other than that, do not write crazy stories on your resume. List facts. We don't want to hear it. HR, we don't want to hear it. We ain't got time for it. The hiring managers don't want to hear it, because once you're stating all these crazy things, you're just making yourself look bad, and no employer wants to bring on someone who's already complaining on their resume, as opposed to listing or stating how they can be a better employee or a better candidate for this position and stuff. So talk to you guys later. Kat, watch the movie.
Thank you, guys. Go ahead and leave a comment. Give us a heart for watching and liking our video. Go ahead and share. And Naomi was on earlier. I know that she's starting her business. So I need to get with her so she can give me some more details, and maybe she'll want to come on to give us all some details about what she's doing. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Sharita. Thank you for Bobby Ray, Auntie Deborah Lee,
Deborah
Kai
Lee.
Kai, Naomi, Eve, Zen, everyone who came by, dropped a comment or a heart, share the video. Go ahead and catch it from the beginning if you missed it. And we'll see you guys Thursday. Thanks.
Bye.